Today we're going to take a look at this new inverter from LiTime. This is their 3000 watt pure sine wave inverter. Great for RVs, solar generator setups, backup power, you name it. This thing is awesome. We're going to take a look at it this time on Ham Radio Tube. Now I do want to let you know, I was on Amazon looking for inverters and I was gonna buy this, but I decided to reach out to LiTime to see if they'd be willing to send me this for review on the channel, and they did. So I got this at no charge, but it's advertised on Amazon regularly for $309. Right now at the filming of this video, there's a $60 off coupon, and there's also another 10% off promo code, which makes this $218.99 before tax. Incredible. So now that you know that, let's dive in and take a look at this inverter. So here's everything you're gonna get in the box with the LiTime 3000 watt pure sine wave inverter. You're gonna get 2 pairs of red and black 4-gauge wire with 3/8 lugs on them. I believe this looks to be pure copper wire as well, which is nice. Gonna come with a bit of mounting hardware, and you also get a remote wire and switch. So if your inverter's mounted somewhere not easily accessible, you run this up where you want it, and you can use this button to turn the inverter on or off, and it also comes with a little grounding cable here as well. Looking at the inverter itself, on the front we've got this beautiful readout that we'll see here in a few minutes that's going to tell us our battery voltage, our AC voltage, everything you want to know about what's going on with the inverter. On one end we're graced with 4 AC outputs. We also have, here's where you're going to plug in your remote control. We've got 2 5-volt 2.4 amp USBs. Right here is the power button, on or off. Here we have a removable cover. This is where if you need to plug in anything higher than 20 amps, if you need to draw to this, this is your 30 amp output here, your line, neutral, and ground there. And then we also have our grounding lug here. The sides of it have, if we look at the back, we've got some nice mounting flaps with 4 holes there, so you can mount this wherever you like. And looking at the business end, we've got 2 fans that are not always on, which is very nice. So it's only gonna kick on when you have, when the temperature gets high or you are pulling a lot of current. And then you've got your red and black battery connects that have these little screws on top to kind of hold it in and protect it. These just remove like such, and then you've got your nut, bolt, and a locking washer on there as well to hook up your battery. Connecting our inverter to a 12-volt source is very easy. I'm using a 12-volt lithium iron phosphate battery, and I've got some 1/0 gauge wire here we're going to use. I have a 250 amp fuse, and I also have a switch that is currently off right now. And we're just going to unscrew these little lugs, take the protective cap off, unscrew our nut, take our washer and lock washer off, go ahead and insert our terminal, washer, lock washer, nut. We can tighten that down with a 10mm wrench. Go ahead and put our protective cover back on and our protective nut. These are kind of awkward, not the greatest design, but they do prevent the terminal from being exposed, so they are necessary. And then we rinse and repeat for our positive side. Just like that. And now, simply by using this button on the side, we can push that. Now our inverter is on. You can see we've got 13.3 volts coming in from the battery. The temperature of the inverter right now is at 26 degrees. That's in Celsius. I don't know if you can change that to Fahrenheit. You might be able to. Here you can see our AC is 121 volts. We're not putting out any power right now, 60 hertz, pure sine wave, and we also have a battery gauge there as well. And as I said earlier, a really nice thing about this inverter, there's no load. There's no reason for these fans to be on, so they're not. It's great. But also, if we look at the current draw on standby, we can see we're only pulling about a 1/2 amp just sitting here on standby. So not pulling a big load, just sitting here being on. That's great. Now I've just plugged in a floor lamp here just to show you what the display can do. So as I turn on the floor lamp, this has 3 different lights on it. Now 2 are on, excuse me. You can see we're pulling about 10 watts there. Now I'll turn on all 5 lights and you can see we're pulling about 50 watts. The fans are still not on because this is cool. We see we're still putting out 121 volts there, 120 volts. Now we're seeing the battery drop for the, because there's a load on it. And we're pulling about 6 amps from the battery right now. So pretty low current. Let's jack up the current and see what this thing can do. Now I've got a heat gun connected to the inverter and we're gonna take a look here and see what we can do here. Just on low right now, pulling 740 watts. Got a little bit of voltage drop from the battery, that's fine. Still putting out 117 volts AC. Let's kick this up to high power now. Now we're at high power, 1250. Now the fans just kicked on. The fans really aren't that loud either. So great test there. No problem putting out 1250 watts to power a heat gun off of battery power. That's great. And the fans went off too. Not sure how well you'll be able to see this, but the fans are off. We'll turn the inverter on. Now the fans are on. Running full speed, putting out a good amount of air there. Lots of airflow going through these. Turn the heat gun off and the fans go off as well. And the temperature is only at, 28 degrees there, you can see. So as the power goes on from the heat gun, the temperature of the inverter can and will go up, but the fans are gonna keep it nice and cool. Now I want to put this to the ultimate test. I've got a space heater hooked up and I've got my heat gun. I only have a 250 amp fuse, so I don't want to blow that, so I'm not going to try and go to the 3000 watts, but I have hooked up another 100 amp hour battery in parallel to my first 100 amp hour battery, so we should be good there. So I'm going to start with the electric heater. That's on. We're pulling about 1,000 watts right now, 96, 95 amps. And let's see what we can do with the heat gun. Now we're pulling 1,560 watts, 147 amps. Put this into high power. Pulling 2,010 watts and 187 amps. So that's pretty sweet. This remote control is pretty handy too. If you're out camping in an RV, you're hooked up to shore power, you don't need your inverter on, so you can push the button, turn it off, or push it on. Now you have power again. Now, being that this is a ham radio channel, my viewers are probably going to be asking, Mike, is this inverter RF quiet? So let's test that now. I've got OBS capturing the screen of my ICOM 7610. We're going to cycle through some bands. I'm going to turn the heat gun on and I'll overlay that as we make this happen. So heat gun is on. Right now we're looking at 80 meters. My noise floor is high. There is no RFI. We'll go to 40 meters. No RFI there. All those lines are the regular RFI that I have normally in my house. 10 meters, no RFI. 20 meters, no RFI. 17 meters, no RFI. 15 meters, nothing. It's just pure signal. 12 meters, no RFI. 10 meters, no RFI. There is no radio frequency interference emitted by this LiTime 3000 watt pure sine wave inverter. Love it. Now my primary reason for wanting an inverter like this is not for RV. I don't own an RV. It's for backup emergency power and solar battery generator type things. I'm in the Houston, Texas area. We get hurricanes, power goes out, it happens, but it doesn't have to happen to you. And just because your power goes out might not be a natural disaster. You could just have a power line that fell down. Doesn't mean your internet is out. You can take this, plug in your TV, plug in your router, plug in some lights like this, and you're still living comfortably when all your neighbors don't have power. So let's take a look at some things of what you can do with an inverter like this and a good battery system. With an inverter backup system like this, you can still have power in a grid down situation. Right now, I'm powering this light behind me, I'm powering my cigar humidor, I'm powering my 55-inch 4K TV, as well as my stereo, and I can even play Xbox if I want, all with an inverter and a 12-volt battery. And all of this, I'm only pulling about 14.5 amps out of the battery right now. So I can go for hours and hours with this 100 amp hour battery. Imagine if you had a bigger battery system. One of the biggest issues in a grid down or power outage is our refrigerator and everything inside it. There's probably a lot of money in your fridge. By hooking up an inverter, you don't have to waste all that money. That's the first thing that everyone goes to in a power outage. So right now, the compressor just kicked on. I'm only pulling 80 watts out of this thing and about 10.5 amps. So I can run this fridge probably around 10 hours with just a 100 amp hour battery. Put some solar on there, you can go even longer. Now for the mother of all inverter test, because if this is not a true pure sine wave inverter, it will not work with a microwave. So let's go ahead and turn this on. We got power, but will it work? Look at that. That is freaking awesome. Fans are in ultra high, pulling 135 amps out of the battery right now, so we could still run this for a little under an hour. That's awesome. And we'll stop it, the fans go down. That is freaking cool. Well, there we have it, guys. This LiTime 3000 watt pure sine wave inverter has far exceeded my expectations. And what a great price, what a great product. I am so excited to have this. Look for more videos in the future where I'm going to be incorporating this into a big solar generator power off-grid kit. So like, share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Thanks to LiTime for supplying us with this inverter so we can share it with the rest of the world. And thank you guys for watching Ham Radio Tube. We'll see you later. 73.